goodness. How cool is that?
Are we live now?
We are live. And let me just do the thing that.
Yes, we are live. Okay.
Yeah,
So, okay. So let's start by I am going to introduce myself. My name is Sandra Corona, and I am a coach for executives, neurodiversity, and professionals, such as expats, especially expats.
Yeah, and I love to be a thinking partner and enabler for individuals, leaders, and entrepreneurs, as well as their teams in tech and beyond. So, Sandra and I met through a wonderful ICQ group where we learned about cultural intelligence and whatnot, and we connected right away. So, we were putting our heads together and wondering what way can we do to provide value to you guys. So, thank you very much for coming to our first ever live. We are going
Yes,
to
thank you.
attempt to do this weekly. And we truly are looking forward to your participation and suggestions as we go along. Good.
Yes, perfect.
So, today's topic, what is success to you? And
Mm.
maybe I'm just going to throw it right over the wall to you, Sandra. What is success to you?
Oof. So I've been thinking about it. I asked a couple of people, and there's a variety because they always ask, well, what do you mean success as in personal life, work, as a person? And it, for me, when I think about success, it's being able to see the world through less filters, meaning that if I'm able to clear and see better where are my goals, where I'm going, how am I going to achieve them, break it down and see if these are real, right, based on what's going on in life around me, and having the less influence, external influence, and more it's about me. That is success to me.
Oh, that's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
What
So,
about you?
two points that I see out of there. First of
Yeah.
all, success can be context dependent, right, or system
Yes.
dependent, depending on which part of your life, depending on which role you play. It can be different, right? So,
Right.
I fully agree with that. I don't necessarily think that there's one definition of success for all cases in
Mm-hmm.
all circumstances. So that's certainly true. It's very interesting that for you, the way that you described, if I understand it correctly, it is a way of you yourself seeing the world differently, having less filters, how you say, being more
Yep.
open, and so
Mm-hmm.
on. So it's kind of like a personal characteristic
Yes.
of yourself, which differs a little bit from mine. If I had, irrespective of the things that we just said, that it's context
Okay.
dependent, all that. If I had to put one word to my success, it would be contribution. I
Yeah.
would like to contribute. I would like to make a positive impact. And so for me, it is still a characteristic of an action, of a state, of a behavior, of myself, of a mindset, most
Mm-hmm.
definitely, that originates in myself, but it's very much in the direction of the outside.
Yes.
Right, and so I think
Yes.
that is very fundamental also to my profession as a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
So yeah, and whether that is in my profession as a coach, in my volunteer work, in just the way that I approach personal and social relationships and so on, it's always kind of this overarching value. that drives it.
Yes, let me add something into that. That's very funny because what I've the people that I asked are people in Europe, right? And for them, it's a collective. For people in Europe, and we've always known this, in Europe, it's a collective. It's about joining forces and being able to achieve something in common. And like you said, in the West, in the other side of the world, it's personal. It sounds almost selfish, right? Because you're thinking about how you are going to achieve success, how you're going to do it. But the truth is, what they say is that behind a great team, I'm sorry, behind a great leader, there's an even greater team, right? So that is when you become a leader, you recognize the other people around you. And as coaches, we know that we are leaders creating leaders.
Yes, definitely part of it. Definitely part of it. And it's all about being able to go out and enable others, being catalysts for others, empowering
Yes,
others, and
right.
freeing other people's mindsets, I think. Or no, not freeing them, because it's not us freeing them, but providing an environment and a space that allows people to free themselves. Let's put it
Yes,
that way. Okay. So
correct.
the it is very different, though. If you were to think, if we were to go out on the street, just
Okay.
randomly out on the street, and we would
Yeah.
ask people like, how do you define success, we would probably get quite
Mm.
different answers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
also quite
Mm-hmm.
different on where we are in the world,
Correct.
which social educational strata we are looking at. But there's some very different things that would come. I want to have $1 million in the bank by the time I'm 30. Well, okay, for me, 30
Yeah.
has come and gone, but yeah. uh, or I want a big car, or I want the family. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
and so they're very very different definitions of what success can be. Some people
Mm-hmm.
define success as reaching a certain title or position in the professional or even political world. So there's so much difference. What do you think, in your view, could be some of the things that kind of um, contribute to that? Why do people have such extremely differing views of what success could be for them?
Okay, so I was reading a book today, and it was talking about the language that we use. And a lot of it, I think, in my perspective, my point of view, very personal point of view, I think that language and the motivational drive direction that you have has a lot to do with it, because there's people that based on their culture, their education, they either can be good, really good at one thing, but they can be taught to believe that they are terrible at other things and mediocre in others, right? And so for me, when I think about that, I think that also there's people that are active, reactive. What's the other word? Let me think. I have here my notes. Sorry, guys, but I have to be honest. I have here active, reactive, and what's the other one, Claudia? Mm, active, reactive, and proactive.
Proactive, yeah, yeah.
Proactive. So based on how you're raised is how you're going to do the things that you do in life. It's based on your values, your beliefs, and these values and beliefs are based on the effectiveness in your language, in how you speak and how you motivate yourself, how you were taught to motivate yourself, right? So that's what I think has a lot to do with what your question. What do you think about that?
Definitely. I mean, language and the underlying concepts, right? Like the deeper structure of our models, our internalized set of experiences and everything, and then how that translates into actual language can have definitely
Mm-hmm.
an impact.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
uh, First of all, I think a lot of people have never really thought about it, frankly, right? Just this way that a lot of people have not thought about what are their values, what are their belief systems.
Correct.
It's what in the coaching world, and pardon if we say the jargon, it's the self-reflection bit. Right? A lot
Yes.
of people are not self-reflected. They have not ever looked underneath their own surface, and so as such, they live by norms and, if you want to call them that, values or guidelines that are imposed by society, by society as a whole, by their social circle, by their family maybe,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
things like that are adopted. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, and we see this often also in young people where they haven't really had that maturity yet to
Yes.
self reflect and make
Correct.
decisions like that, that they will go and for instance, on social media, and they see these quote unquote successful people, making a lot of money and living the posh lifestyle and jet setting the world or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, they are going to adopt this because, of
Correct.
course, when I see it, I want some of that too, right?
We all want to
That's
be
that, right,
influencers. Yes.
right. So, I think that living this kind of default life lends itself to default measures of success. And so, I think, first of all, you have to question, is the definition of success truly that person's, or is it just an adopted one? And or just a default one that they adopt, like default settings in a computer program
Yep.
before we go out there and customize things, right?
Right. Right.
And those are very much also influenced by culture, definitely, because they
Absolutely.
they, they are different in Asia as they would be, for instance, in the US, or in Africa or whatever, most definitely. um if I were to think then about success as a whole as well, I think it has also to do with the the time horizon that people are using when they talk about success.
Oh.
There's the immediate success, there's the more long-term success,
Ah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the measures of the metrics can also be more process based versus outcome based.
Okay.
Sometimes, and they're difficult to manage, and this starts playing into motivation as well. Okay, so I don't want to
Yes.
confuse it, but if your success is to uh, oh, now I'm having trouble coming up with an example, but to keep it simple, you want to learn a language. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So your success in that particular aspect, it's kind of an endeavor that you have chosen for yourself. You want to learn a language.
Yeah.
So, what is success going to be for you? How are you going to measure success for that? 1,000 words of vocabulary, all the exercises done in a book,
Mm-hmm.
going, let's say you want to learn Italian, going to Italy and speaking fluently with the people there, so you don't need to look at a dictionary, just that kind of thing. Those are all kind of like outcome based and metric based things. Or is it just the fact that every day you dedicate a few minutes of your time to getting better at Italian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if every day you do that, and that's your thing of success, that dedication is how you measure success. The process of learning is how you measure success.
Right.
Eventually you're going to get there,
Right.
right? So it's very different as well. What is success for you? It can just be every day I do a little bit to get a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
versus, whatever. Every day I eat a little bit healthier rather than I lose 100 pounds. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that it can be very different in for different things, and I think figuring out what it is for you, I think, is the important part, because there's no right or wrong here. There's no
Right.
right or wrong here. There is just like, is it right for you? Is it the most beneficial to you or not? What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That was a lot. There's a lot. It's loaded with a lot of things. I think for me, it depends on where you are in life. Okay. That you say that it's a lot of what you were saying, the future. And I'm sorry, I missed that part, the other one. But for me, it's about where you are in life and how sustainable, if you learned how to make it sustainable for you. Uh, Success does not come easy, and success requires, for me, you were talking about motivation, and for me, it's all about what triggers you, what makes you want to get there to achieve that goal. If you don't know how to achieve something, if you want success but don't know how to achieve it, and you don't know what drives you, the self is missing. And so, um, for some people, in order to get there, and I don't know if you know this, and I was reading about this language that I just couldn't believe it, that for some people, in order to take action, they require for a negative consequence to happen to them in order to take action.
It's the traditional, you have to hit rock bottom before you crawl out of it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of people find motivation in that because it's something negative has to happen in order for them to take action. The problem is sustainable is that kind of success. And in reality, it's not. It's not sustainable. It's not achievable because it's only for the moment. The moment that something bad happens to you, yes, you're like, no, this is not going to happen to me again, and la, 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 la. And then when that dies, what's next?
Yeah.
Go down again. You feel like it's like subscribing to the gym. How many of us don't get excited, right?
January 1st, right? Yes, yes, yes.
Pain and the gym is making their great year, every time on the 1st of January. And then suddenly, you have to ask yourself, what happened in order for me to feel motivated to sign up? And what would be the worst thing that would happen if I don't continue? That's the kind of language that I'm talking about. If you're a person that is motivated by negative actions, then one of your languages, the question to ask yourself is, what is the negative consequences of me not continuing to go to the gym? So you want to stay within, you want to communicate with people in the same level that they are. You have to meet people at the same level as they are so that you can understand where their idea of success is coming from. That's my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's this avoidance of pain and the search
Yes,
of pleasure, and
exactly.
so and that also, again, the same idea. It depends on the time horizon that you're looking at. Pain today
Oh,
versus pain later,
yes.
pleasure today versus pleasure later.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So, yes, Matthew, this is a 1 hour meeting, or we might break up earlier if we have nothing else to say. But for right now, yeah, probably an hour. Thanks for your question. So Okay. I think that you touched on something quite interesting, which is why do we even ask this question?
Yeah.
What is
Mm-hmm.
success to you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, frankly, who cares what
Mm-hmm.
success is to you? You
Yeah.
care about it because it can drive your action, it can shape your mindset, it can give you motivation. It's part of the whole visioning process, I think. And it it is changeable as well, and I think
Yeah.
that we have to allow for changes in our definition of
Mm.
success. Okay,
Yes.
I give you a little anecdote, and sorry if
Sure.
I do and it's boring, but here we go. I play the piano. Okay, so when I was a teenager and so on, I loved to play. I had quite a good memory for music. My fingers worked pretty well, and I just enjoyed it. It was for me. It was the way to just let it all out, and
Right.
classical music. I mean, there's nothing like some good
Lovely.
Beethoven to get you settled in life, and success back then for me would have been, with respect to playing the piano, is to maybe acquire some more difficult repertoire, to learn certain pieces that were as of then out of reach and so on. And it was maybe also a little bit of this um, not competing with others, because that was never part of it, but measuring up in my own sense with what
Yes.
others were able to do, right?
Right.
So if for un premier prix you had to be able to play these levels of pieces, then yeah, it would be really nice if you could play these conservatory level pieces. By the way, I never really was, but that's another story. And see, if now, so many years later, that would be my definition of success,
Yeah.
I would take my grand piano and throw it out the window, because it would be so unbelievably demotivating to have that as a measure of success and then playing the way that I'm playing right now. Okay,
Yeah.
so because to be able to play at that level, it requires daily dedication and years of practice, and that's just
Right. And
it's
life
not
has
part of my
happened.
life. Life has
Right.
happened, right? So
Exactly.
so so I remember very very distinctively the moment that I put that on the shelf, and I went and I say, I just play for my little bit of pleasure. And it's okay if I play the simple pieces as long as I have enjoyment from it and so on. That is now my success.
But you had to ask yourself a question in order to get to that.
I'm just checking the
That
chat.
yes, please.
Okay,
Eh,
go ahead, go ahead.
Yes. So you had to ask yourself a question in order to reach that point, right? And that is where we forget. In order to reach success, we have to make sure that we ask ourselves the right questions: where we are, what we're doing, what's important to me, what's coming out for me, right? What's coming out of this? I'm sorry, for me. What am I getting out of it? And so, because those kind of questions are the ones that are going to trigger you into reaching conclusions where you say change, allow yourself to change. Success does not specific, it does not have to stay the same. Yes, it changes with age, it changes with generation, it changes with life happening, right? And so life happened to you, and you concluded that I don't have time anymore, so I'm just going to enjoy it when I can. for the kiddies.
Yes, 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 exactly. For those who are listening in, we just
Yeah.
adopted two kittens. They are 5 months old right now, and if you hear some like noise in the background, that's probably them playing.
Yeah.
I think that people should nevertheless then also acknowledge this that if you have to downgrade certain desires or measures of success that you have, certain goals that you had beforehand, that you're going to grieve it. It's going to be a
Oh,
very uncomfortable
yeah.
situation. And for me to shelve this idea of being able to play certain repertoire on the piano, it was painful. It was painful. But on the other hand, you have to then just say, what's ultimately happening now in your life, and put it in
Mm,
context, and trade it off, and not only look at it in this kind of very narrow, with this narrow focus, but look at it in the context of your overall life. Because the fact that I wasn't able to focus on the piano was because I was focusing on other things,
yeah.
right? And so I think that this constant rebalancing of what success means in the different areas, where we focus, where our vision lives, how we are going about our daily lives. It's a very broad, complex kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when we then ask the question, what is success for you? It really requires to take a fairly deep look at your life,
Oh, yeah.
at who you are, who you want to be, how you're changing, how you're adapting. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's more than just I want money, I want whatever. And so it that's why coaching is fun, because
Oh, yeah.
as soon as you do some individual coaching, that's what becomes part of the whole conversation, this
I
landscape of one's life.
I love it. So I wanted to make a pause, if you don't mind, Claudia, to see if we have any questions or if anybody would like to answer our live question for today. What is success for you? So if you have or you would like to join in, turn on your camera and let us know if you are available to chat. Let's give them some time. Come on, don't shy away, guys. Success is in the eyes of the beholder, right?
Yeah. And if you're still or already in your PJs, you can
Oh,
also keep
yeah.
the camera off, But
Yes, exactly.
if you feel like contributing, that would
Yes.
maybe be a nice moment. Hi, Me
Yes.
Too, and welcome being the first
Hello,
guest on our live show. Thank you.
Welcome.
my pleasure. Yeah, I would like to thank you for these ideas. I guess very relevant. I do think my definition was quite close in a certain aspect. So, for example, when I have the list of objectives, I do have one column where I differentiate it from a process goal and a result oriented goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's a process, for example, like, okay, you have to keep in touch with former clients, then I make a certain calls. I have a certain number of meetings every month with former clients. So that's a process goal. But then if I have to achieve a certain KPI or a certain result, like I have a certification where I have to pass the exam with this percentile as a result, then I will put it as a result goal. And
Mm.
so what I do is that I have this list, which is crazy. Like it's an Excel sheet with more than like 45 lines. It's like very details. Some of them are more objective, and then there is this deadline, and so some of them are a bit flexible. So that is also one thing I add to it. like what are flexible in terms of like, okay, in terms of timing, well, is it also it all depends on the context. Is it a very tight goal or is it a flexible goal? And what
Yes.
is the impact that it is for me? And then something I do to prioritize is the value it comes, or what are my values actually. So I take a lot of time in determining the values. And once you have the values, what is the hierarchy of the values? So which value is more important to me at this point of time? So what was important to me like 20 years back is not the same now. So what is the
Exactly.
hierarchy at the exact point of time? And
Mm-hmm.
and it's exactly for not for individuals, I can say for enterprises, for organizations, it's the same. What is valuable at this moment, and what is how is it defined? What things, and based on that hierarchy, what comes first and what should I achieve? So and then you add in the concept of flexibility. You add in the concept of impact. So what is the risk of losing? And I like to say in terms of impact, like what is a positive impact? If it's an opportunity, what is the cost of not doing it?
Exactly.
So and again, what is the cost of avoiding it? So I guess yeah, I guess it's what is the cost if I do it later? So what's the cost of postponing it? And if you can evaluate these questions, I guess it gives you a much better idea of okay where you are. And
Mm-hmm.
I do know the fact that we tend to fill in with a lot of those objectives. And so I have so many clients, like one current client that is like struggling with the amount of things that they're doing. And one of the reasons is that they don't know their capacity. So that is one thing also very important. Like, okay, what is your? I think I can say about the question you said in the at the beginning of this discussion, that where are you now? So I think that is
Mm-hmm.
important. Like, what is your current capacity? What resources do you have? And what you want to achieve? Is it I mean, is it conforming your capacity? So if it's not, then you would be stressed and you would be like constantly and consistently drained by the resources because you don't have the resources to do it. So you can do it for a day or two, like that kind of sprint. If you do it for a month, you'll be burned out. So there comes the concept of energy. What is your energy? What is your
Yes.
current level of energy that you will be able to drive? Will you be able to drive it till the end, or will you do it at some point of time you'll be leaving? Then something else I feel in some cultures, it's more people like doing a lot of spontaneous projects, and some cultures where they are more one task at a time kind of culture. So focus one, get it done till the end, and then attack the next topic. So this is something which comes also from lean management. We talk about work in progress. So have reduce the work in progress as much as you can, so that you have less number of topics in parallel, so that you can have more energy for each of the topics. And I think at the personal individual level, at the team level, and at the organizational level, we can have all these the same thought. How can you decrease your work in progress? So yeah, these were a few ideas I wanted to share.
Thank you. And with that, we close the show because we ran out of options with human. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Me too.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, truly fantastic. It brought up very, again, I think that it's all such a truly interconnected mesh when we talk about success and vision and goals and
Mm-hmm.
motivation
Mm-hmm.
and process and
Mm-hmm.
and then come all these things that are around it, like how do I say no, how do I prioritize, how do I for me
Yeah.
and my circumstance, know and accept my own narrative, And this again is, it transcends the individual. It goes into the collective, whether it be a team or an organization. I think it's always part of the whole. And you mentioned some very, very valuable points there. So truly, truly very nice summary. Thank you, Mitun.
Thank you very much,
Yes,
Mitun.
yes, excellent. Um, Ilana wrote in the chat that unfortunately she's not in a possibility to put on her microphone, but for her, success is to do more of what she wants, not of what she has to do. And she
Ah,
does, yeah, and she also agrees that it's important to know herself. And
exactly.
yeah, do more of what I want to do. Oh my God,
Yes.
what a nice one. I really enjoy that. Yes, yes.
Yes.
And that again, I think can be true for uh, personal, social, professional, and world at large kind of scenarios. I think do more of what I wanna do. Wouldn't that be not in the end like the ultimate success?
It would be if more people understood themselves and they actually asked themselves the real questions, right? That is why coaching is so important. So that we guide people towards asking themselves these kind of questions. And for me, um, what Liana, right? Yes, thank you, Liana, for that comment. Um, Again, we come back to the sense of self, and without the sense of self, you cannot reach the point where you will be satisfied. You, like in this case, Liana asked herself the right questions, and now she understands what's most important to her to achieve that success. What is success for her? And that I applaud her for that sense of self. That is fantastic. Okay, so why don't we also pause? And now let's talk about why or how we came up with Freud. Yeah, we haven't talked about that. We kind of flew through and said, okay, to make sure that people got the value of the show, right? And so, well, show, comment, whatever. What is it? It's a chat amongst friends. So, Claudia, take it away, please, my
Yeah,
darling.
yeah. So, uh, Freudenfreude. We wanted to provide content, and for both Sandra and I, it turned out that the way that we connect with people the best is by talking. We're talkers, and also kind of reacting in the moment, and having these friendly exchanges,
Yep.
um, you know. Uh, like that. And then Sandra said, "Let's do it live." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I've never done anything live," because if you screw up, it's like there, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't like edit it out. So, but this is it. What you see is what you get, and. Freudenfreude was the name was actually Sandra's idea, and I agreed quickly and wholeheartedly. Why
Yeah.
did you choose it, Sandra?
So I was reading Brene Brown. Oh, surprise, right? She is a queen in my eyes. She's amazing. And she was talking about shame. She was talking about, the that in order for you to provide that safe space to people, the psychological safety space that we all want to offer in order to people, like we were saying at the beginning, as coaches, we are leaders and we create leaders. That's what leaders do. And in order for that to be achieved, you have to offer a safe space. And safe space does not come with shaming. That is a no-no. So what is the opposite? Well, okay, first, Freudenfreude is to appreciate and applaud and celebrate the success of others. So we're here to celebrate success. It happens to be the first topic. We didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you did, but I just noticed.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, FreudenFreude is the opposite of Schadenfreude. And that is when people are actually getting quite happy when other people fail. Okay? And so, no. We're going to be quite happy if you succeed. Yes, go
Exactly.
ahead, succeed. We're going to be happy for you. And so the words come from German, and so Freudenfreude. Right. Yes.
Common, but it has appeared in certain sitcoms in the US. It's in the comics, in the Sunday comics, very common. But I think people have counted them, and FreudenFreude has only appeared about 6 times in since 2000. Oh, it even appeared in The Simpsons. So the Simpsons are known to do kind of things like that. So yeah, that's why we chose FreudenFreude, because we're here to celebrate people's success. We as coaches, we like to motivate, inspire, and uh, create opportunity for people to, to move ahead and do what they need to do to find success. So that's where it came from. And thank you very much for joining us. Okay. What else is on the docket?
What else is on the docket? Well, unless somebody else has something to throw in there, maybe we could actually conclude it for our very first live here. If anybody has any suggestions for future topics, would maybe like to be an official interviewee about a topic that is close and dear to their hearts, then please let us know and we will try to accommodate. We will
Yes.
definitely be back in 1 week, same time, same place. There will be a LinkedIn event associated with it. And, if you want to see a recording of this, you can always go onto YouTube on
Yeah.
thing.
Join our page. Yeah.
We have a page on LinkedIn, but we also have a channel on YouTube. And since the YouTube has just handed out the new handles.
There you go.
The link is very, very simple right now. youtube.com/@FreudenFreude will get us to our page. If you would see it in your hearts to give us some love by liking, subscribing, that would be much appreciated.
Yes, and joining our LinkedIn page, please. There you can include your comments. You can say, hey, I'd like to participate. I have a topic that I think would be interesting, or to be a part of any of the topics that we suggest. Hey, feel free to suggest anything right there and join, and we will be more than happy to have more followers. And please invite your friends. Yes. This is a friendly space, safe space for everybody.
Yeah, and if in any case, if today is any indication, then we're not going to run out of topics anytime soon.
No.
Guys, thank you so much, and we will be in touch and seeing you soon.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Vinod.
Some music to set it out.
There you go.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.